Previously on Unfiltered Heart Talks.
One of the reasons why I had a great issue with us doing this topic is because everyone does submission from the side of the woman submitting.
Do you have an issue submitting to me? Question I have is this.
Yeah.
Right? What is your problem with submission?
Submission has been abused over the age.
Right.
And I have somewhat experienced that, and it left a bad taste of submission in my mouth. If someone is telling you to submit, more than likely they're not ready to receive that level of power.
A friend of mine called me and we were talking and he was saying, man, every time I try to be nice with my girl, she just start being mean. I said, bro, do not let go of that pedal. Just keep your foot on the gas. Do not let go.
It's not
It's
fun.
a little bit sad, but then I understand. I put my notes together.
So what's your note saying?
A few things that I've put down. One, you acknowledge the person's subjective experience, including feelings, thoughts, intentions, and perspectives, and that they possess a depth of dimensionality to their being. So you acknowledge them for who they are. You look at them for who they are, and you are empathetic
And
sympathetic to their needs and wants, right? So it's not about the woman submits to me, she is under my authority, my rule, and whatever I say goes. And if she's feeling some kind of way, I don't care. You know, it's a case where you both sympathize and empathize with each other's needs and wants.
Wow.
And that is deep. You know,
Wow,
it goes beyond just seeing the person as an object or as a subject to, you know, like kings say, these are my subjects.
These are my subjects.
No, that's not the submission role
Wow.
that you play as a man.
Wow.
Mm.
Me never get this the last 4 times.
Mm. We
Because
were going to it.
we were going to me like say lick it pon it. You have to understand the other person, want the best for the other person. Empathize with them, sympathize with
Right.
them. And it's not just a one-sided thing.
It's a mutual thing. It's a mutual thing.
Right?
Right. And that's the
And
next point that I'm going to
that's where
come
you
to.
can actually
Mhm.
freely, easily submit one to another.
Submit one to
Okay.
another. And it's also number 2, it's a mutual recognition, as you mentioned. This is the capacity to see others as equal subjects with their own needs, their own desires, and their own perspectives. So when you talk about a man valuing your opinion, if he doesn't value your opinion, then he literally sees you as an object or a subject, someone who is lesser to him.
Yes.
You know, so mutual respect has to be a part of it, recognizing that these can differ from one's own. So again, you value the perspective and recognize that your opinion might differ from mine, but I still respect you. I still value your opinion, and I still see you as my wife.
You know, because a lot of women, or even men,
Mhm.
a lot of people enter into relationships, and I think this is the biggest red flag.
Mm.
When you enter into a relationship and your individuality fades,
Mm.
it almost becomes non-existent when you are with that person. One of the things that I really value about our relationship, and as I've mentioned, you never asked me to submit. It's just something that comes naturally, and
Right.
it's an enjoyable experience.
Mhm.
But one of the things I realized in our relationship, and I made note of it, I said, God, whatever relationship I'm going to be a part of, I want to maintain my individuality, and I do not want religion to be of such that we become rigid and lost into this maze of rituals, right? And that's the beauty of our relationship. I find that I am not somebody else. I do not feel like I have to be someone else. I am free to be who I am And I don't know about you. I feel like it's the same for you. You are not trying to change into my image, and I'm not trying to change into your image.
Right.
But we're two individual persons coming together, making a perfect whole in our uniqueness.
Right.
And
right.
I value that so much, having lost myself before. So that point that you mentioned, it's very solid.
Right.
And I know a lot of people that I know, and a lot of women that are in the world can say that when they came into this relationship, especially if they're a Christian, they submitted to the order and they lost themselves under the order of this person that didn't value their opinion. And therefore, you know, when that relationship ended, if it ever did, they didn't know who they were after.
Wow. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
it is
deep.
important to have that mutual respect.
That mutual respect. And you know, it goes without saying that if you love your woman as Christ loves the church, and you understand what that is and what it looks like, then there is no way you can treat her as a subject.
No.
Because Christ doesn't treat the church as a subject.
No.
He treats the church as an extension of his person. And you know, that's literally what your wife is to you as a man. She's an extension of your body. And that is why, you know, there's this saying in Jamaica, man born hot, but woman born hotter. Meaning in English that, you know, when a man cheats, it hurts. But when a woman cheats on that same man, that hurt feeling is deeper than what the woman would feel. And I think it is true. I believe it is true, because you see the extent to which a man goes when he's deeply hurt by a woman. He goes to the extreme of taking lives. Whether it is that he catches his spouse with another man, he immediately moves to a place of, I am protecting her from this man who is having sex with her.
Wow.
You know, to the point where he ends up killing that man. And in most cases, it leads to him killing her as well, because what he looks at is that he sees himself going against him. You know, and that's deep. It's like you stand in the mirror and you literally look at yourself in the mirror, going against all the motivation and encouragement that you are telling yourself in the mirror. It's kind of like that, because the woman
like
was taken.
Self-hurting yourself.
You're self-hurting yourself, you know. So the woman was, and rightfully so, because the woman was taken from the rib of the man. So she's an extension of him. And if you're married to someone and you don't feel that bond, the man doesn't see his wife in that way, then your relationship is in jeopardy. Yes. You know, and that is why I question even the very idea of submission being something that can be applied to unbelievers. And if you are a believer in God and the man is not a believer, should you even submit to that man? There's a lot of questions that I have.
But you mentioned before,
when it comes to submission.
Yeah. But you mentioned before that submission, whether it's a biblical, you know, it is a biblical thing, but whether people are under the governance of God or not, submission happens everywhere. Even,
it does.
Even in the workplace, you know, there is someone above that gives the orders, and then there are quote unquote subjects.
Right.
So.
It does. And in essence, as we are on the subject of looking at what submission means, submission in essence means acknowledging the inherent subjectivity of another, right? Mutually recognizing each other's uniqueness, acknowledging their individuality with their own experience, and fostering shared understanding through interaction and communication. So, as this said, this is crucial for healthy human relationships and underlines many areas of psychology. Looking at the origination of submission and where it comes from, you go back to the Greek, which I think, if I remember correctly, the Greek word is, maybe I'm not going to pronounce it right, but it's upotasso. Upa means under, and potasso means arrange.
Okay.
So in the English, it's translate to arrange under a leader, right? And it was usually used in military context where it denotes troops being arranged under the military leader. And that helps to foster mutual cooperation and trust between leadership and troops. The sad part about submission, which we have always seen throughout the ages, is that the submissive mind is always subjected to abuse, as we see with slavery, even
in marriage,
government leadership.
Government.
You know, we always see that. And that's a sad part about it. And that is why I think that a lot of people, especially women, shy away from submission because the understanding of submission that the world has and what it applies, it's so negatively associated with the past and the track record that have been outlined, to the point where people are saying, I can't do this act knowing that this is the track record that it has left behind. But again, it's because many people don't understand what it means, and we tend to ignore verse 21 of Ephesians chapter 5. I will go as far as to say that submission is not, I strongly believe that submission is not for unbelievers. Because marriage, you have to be selfless. When I talk about being selfless, you have to be a selfless person to have a healthy and effective and functioning marriage.
Yeah.
Selfishness cannot be in marriage at all.
Yes, that's true.
You know, you have to literally give up your own existence for the other person.
Yeah.
You give up your own, and when I say give up your existence for the other person, I don't mean forgetting who you are.
For the betterment of the relationship. You know, because you have to be you have to be solid, you know, so.
And if two people are saying that I'm putting my best foot forward, I'm giving you my all, you know, just imagine what kind of relationship they can have from that.
And we're not talking about people where, sorry, go ahead.
But what you find today is that people are selfish. There are a lot of selfish people getting married. My money is my money, your money is our money. That's the first sign of selfishness. And I would even go as far as to encourage any man that if you have a conversation with a woman where family roles are concerned, and when you come down to the financial discussion, she says, my money, I would want my money to be my money and your money to be, bro, do not even think about considering her as a candidate to be married to for the long term. It's not going to work. That's a selfish thought and idea.
Shazam!
You know, my money is our money and your money is our money.
Shazam!
You know, it has to be a teamwork. Marriage is about being a team, and even in the matter of submission, it should be a teamwork.
Yeah. You know, I feel like Hollywood has sold an idea of marriage to men and women today. Maybe a lot of women have caught the bait more than men have. But Hollywood has sold this idea of marriage. I don't know if you've seen this whole thing online where women, you know, families do this whole thing where dad is the ATM machine.
Just another day at the ATM.
And, you know, they do this whole thing where they go up to dad and they get all the money and then they just live large, right? But I believe that we have been sold this false idea of what marriage should be. The woman says, your money is my money is my money.
Your money is your money, my money is my money. I said, no! Your money is my money and my money is my money.
And
You think so they wise?
funny enough, the celebrities, they are working marriage more of a covenant than most people are.
Yeah, because they
realize that when you get into this is a partnership for life and for the betterment of whatever goal we want to propel or to birth.
Yeah, and then they sell all this nonsense to
They,
society.
they sell the
know.
nonsense, but they're living the dream
Right.
life, you know.
Because
They're telling you need to live in a concrete jungle, but they're buying farms. They're telling you, broke boys and this, and then we don't need this boy, and we don't, goodbye boy. And they're married, having children. So
they're telling you
yes.
not to cook, not to do
not
this
to
thing.
cook, not
And
to
then they're
clean,
doing
and
they're doing
cooking
that
and
behind the
cleaning. So
doors.
I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring.
Yes, I do the cooking. Yes, I do the cleaning.
we you know, it's coming all the way from the top, from the side, from the back.
Yep.
It's coming
Yep.
all the way around.
It's systematic.
It's
I would say, you know, and not to mention, I don't care what anybody want to say. Feminism movement has been one of the worst things that has ever happened to humanity. I strongly believe that thing has destroyed the very fabric of the family structure and what God intended for it to be in this world. You know, that's what feminism has done to the family structure. It has destroyed the family. It has uprooted men from the homes. Talk about the stimulus check.
I don't want peace. I want problems. Always.
Let's not get into it, but you know, talk about so many things that feminism has done. It has destroyed the family. It has literally destroyed the nuclear family and has turned women into, I don't know what. I remember when we thought that the issue we were seeing where dating was concerned
was just a westernized
Western
thing.
culture.
Yeah.
And you would always hear me mention that there was either it was a news or something that came out of China one time when I was a small boy, and they spoke about the fact that women there were not getting married, and it was a great concern because they were not only were they not getting married, but they were not having children, and so it was a concern. Lo and behold, 2025. I looked at statistics where dating was concerned in China, only to realize that these guys are doing matchmaking events with 800 women turning up and not one man.
Wow.
Men have washed their hands in Asia, are saying that we are done, we are finished, we are not interested, we will live single, be like Paul.
God have mercy upon us.
And I can see the same thing happening in America.
West, yeah.
It's slowly heading toward, not even slowly, it's quickly heading towards where Asia, especially China is right now. China is not the only country in Asia that is facing that. You talk about Japan. I think Japan is probably facing something similar, where at one point I heard that they were incentivizing black men to come there and impregnate their women. You know, so it's a problem everywhere, and that's thanks to the demonic movement of feminism.
You know, remember I was telling you about the conversation I was having, and I'm wondering if AI will be the means to which women who have accepted feminism and are subject to it because, you know, it's gone through the gate. If AI will be the means by which women will recant feminism and return to their roles in the home. Because honestly, having done that, and having worked in many roles, I find nothing more rewarding than being a mom and a wife. So I'm wondering if we're heading to that place, you know, because honestly, I'd love to
just be home. Be a wife. You know, and take care of the home economy. Because that's a
family,
difficult job.
Go shopping for groceries. You know, create a home, create a haven. That's what I love doing. You know, so
yes, and it's sad that you don't find many women currently who thinks like that. And man, honestly, I've given up.
You don't have to give up.
No, we're trying to convince or trying to
persuade
people to think
of in a logical way. Yes,
I'm done.
Yeah,
you know, and
wash your hands like the men in China.
Wash my hands like the men in China. We are married, and as I told you before, it's one way in and one way out. This was a mafia marriage. Yes. One way in, one way out. You know, and that's not to to think about anything negative, because I
No,
know
it's
some
not.
people get the idea
Yeah.
of, you heard
Yeah,
what he
you
said,
hear what they say?
the mafia
That
style.
one
So
they
if
look like saying,
yeah, no, I'm not talking
no,
about that until
no.
death do us part,
Yeah.
you know. And babe, I'm telling you that if anything unfortunate should happen, me nah look upon the next woman out the road. Me done. I have washed my hands.
We can hear the
In
man
this
them like comment
generation,
that,
like
lies.
in another life,
Yeah.
way back in history, maybe.
Yeah.
But are maybe in some other country that has not been tainted with the whole feminism crap, maybe. But what I'm seeing now, I'm praying for young men. I am praying for young men because it's crazy. But another thing that I wanted us to
On the topic
touch
of
on,
submission.
on the topic of submission,